Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to be looking at the 20 best Nintendo Switch games for under $20. That's right. A couple of ground rules to make sure we're all on the same page. We're not going to be looking at any free-to-play games, because that doesn't really feel like it's in the spirit of it, because they're free. And we're only going to be looking at games that are under $20 at their full price. No special offers or anything like that, because then you're muddying the waters. Something that's on sale at the moment might not be in the future, and therefore won't be relevant on this list. We want to make sure that we do it properly. Oh, and these are ranked. Feel free to argue about it in the comments below. But anyway, enough waffling, let's dive right into things. At number 20, we've got Forma 8, which was originally released on the Wii U, but didn't really get bought because nobody bought a Wii U. You could argue that this is a sort of a Metroidvania-style game, but you don't really do any jumping. So, is it really? I mean, let's be honest, genres are pretty loose as it is. But anyway, it is still a marvelous game. You are playing this teeny tiny little thing flying around and trying to just work out what the blithering hell's going on. And it's just brilliant, beautifully refined, excellent art style, wonderful music. Can't really fault it. Well, you probably could, but we haven't got time. At number 19, it is Overcooked. Yes, the game that everybody loves to hate. Or hates to love, I don't know which way around it is in this case. Basically, you control one of up to 4 chefs at the same time, preferably with other people in the same room, and you just have to cook things. But you keep getting in the way, you can get things wrong, strange things keep happening around you to try and prevent you from getting your orders out. If you get an order wrong, bad things happen. It's like working in a real kitchen, but even more stressful. I did briefly work in a kitchen, although I didn't get paid for it. Work experience. Also, we basically had no customers, so it was nothing like the real thing. Get some friends together, have some fun, and make sure you actually talk to each other, because otherwise you will be losing. Then at number 18, we have got Fast RMX, one of the most refined games on the Switch, and one of the most beautiful in my eyes as well. If you like your futuristic racing, you cannot go wrong with this one. You may well have played Fast Racing Neo if you happen to own a Wii U like me. Then again, maybe not. And this is kind of like the ultimate version of that, and it is so beautiful. 1080p, 60 frames a second, unshakable, and it's just incredibly good fun, and ludicrously quick. Like, ludicrously. Then at number 17, one of the arguably biggest games on the Switch, I suppose you could argue, N++. In this game, you basically just jump around as a ninja trying to do all sorts of wonderful things like get to the exit. And the sheer amount of levels on offer is honestly, frankly, staggering. I love it to pieces. I played it back when it was just N+. I didn't play it when it was just N. This is N++, so it's like the newest and biggest one. And it's got a level editor, so you can make your own and scar your friends. Seriously, this game is tough. At number 16, we've got Yoku's Island Express, which is probably one of the most ambitious Metroidvanias to have ever been made, let alone just on the Switch. The reason? Well, it is entirely a pinball-based movement system. I mean, you do still roll around, but really that is the minimum that you do. It's mainly going to be pinball type stuff, and it is absolutely wonderful, incredibly charming, beautiful to look at. The soundtrack is amazing. It's also beefy. It's a big old game, and I've played it, I wouldn't say to completion, but I've played it to the end of the main story, and I'm still playing it. It's brilliant. Then at number 15, we have got SteamWorld Heist. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I absolutely love the SteamWorld games. This is a turn-based shooter type game. Again, there's a lot of these games that don't really fit neatly into a genre, which is, well, to be honest, probably a good thing because genres are a bit dull anyway. Again, like so many other games on this list, it is absolutely gorgeous to look at, and it has some of the most refined mechanics that I've seen in a long time. Incredibly tactical, it can be brutally difficult if you turn up the difficulty, as you would expect, and overall it's just an amazing game and one that you should definitely look into if you like the old tactics. Then at number 14, have you ever wanted any game to have more guns than it does? Well, in that case, Enter the Gungeon is probably for you. This is a roguelike, and it is so full of guns. Everything is guns. Everything is guns. It's like going to America. Like so many roguelikes, you are unlikely to be able to get very far into the game, let alone the end on your first gameplay playthrough. playthrough. And every single time you play, it's going to be a little bit different, meaning there is infinite replayability here, and frankly, if you like your roguelikes, this is one of the best. Then at number 13, we have got Rocket League. Now, I don't know what I can say about Rocket League that hasn't already been said. Yes, it's a bit of a Marmite game. Some people love it, some people hate it, although most people seem to love it. It's probably one of the hardest games to get into because there is kind of a tutorial, but at the same time, you're just thrown in. It's almost exclusively online, and you're almost exclusively playing against other people, which is a great thing if you love that kind of thing. But if you're more into single player, it's not really gonna be it. But if that is your cup of tea, this is the full-fat Rocket League experience. Nothing has been substituted. This is again ported by Panic Button, who have done so many Switch ports, and when it comes to Switch ports, they really are the kings. So if you think you're gonna get a watered-down experience, think again. Then at number 12, we've got another party-style game. Yes, we've got Death Squared. On the surface of it, this looks like a fairly straightforward sort of puzzle-type game, party game. But it gets so much more than that when you realize just how much control you have over the other people who are playing. Yes, you can all try and get to the goal, or you can, if you're just a little bit bored of somebody telling you exactly what to do, quite easily just knock them off the edge, and it's so satisfying. The falling just... oh, it's just wonderful to see. You can play through it single player, but honestly, we really do recommend playing this with friends. It is a much richer experience when you do that. And just some of the dynamics that can come out of it. It's like Mario Party levels of sabotage. Then at number 11, we've got a phenomenal single-player experience. Yes, Shantae Half-Genie Hero. If you've played any of the Shantae games, you know what you're doing here, but this is probably one of the most refined overall. It was crowdfunded, so, loads of money's been put into it. There's been very little compromise, and this is just a great version of it. It runs beautifully, looks fantastic, and if you like what is Shantae? I suppose an action platformer? It's not really a Metroidvania, is it? Again, we're back onto genres. Look at it. You can tell what kind of game it is. Look at it. Then at number 10, what is definitely a Metroidvania? Yes, SteamWorld Dig 2. It's another SteamWorld game, so it's one that I absolutely love. The first SteamWorld Dig game was good. It was a very good game. Really good fun. Really enjoyed it, but SteamWorld Dig 2 turned it up to a totally new level. The graphics have been improved. The gameplay has been improved. The music is absolutely astonishing. Like, for ages, when I first moved into my new flat and the SteamWorld Dig 2 had just come out, I just had it on in the background when I was in the town because the music is just so catchy there. It's just like this. Now, if you're telling me that's not a funky groove, I don't know what is. At number 9, yes, we've got Snipperclips, the only first-party Nintendo game on this list, because they generally like to charge a little bit more. Snipperclips is one of those games where it's just nothing like you've ever played before. Again, this is more a sort of a multiplayer-focused game. You can play it single player, but it really isn't as good single player. In fact, it really isn't massively great single player, but when you get multiplayer, it's just absolutely out of this world. You've got to snip, you've got to clip, you've got to solve puzzles, you've got to try and do these twiddly things, you've got to try and turn gears. The whole thing is an experience, as I've said, like nothing else. And then if that's not enough for you, you can also go into the whole sort of party mode. I can't remember what it's called, I think it's Battle. And you can be playing air hockey, basketball, and it's 4-player, and it's amazing. Honestly, I don't even know why I have to explain this game. You probably know already about it all already. Then at number 8, another Metroidvania. There's a lot of really good Metroidvania games on Switch. Yes, Axiom Verge. This game takes the idea of glitching and actually incorporates it into the game. No, the game doesn't actually glitch out, but it uses that sort of idea of sort of distortion and changing things and sprites getting mixed up and actually injects it into the game, and it works beautifully. This is another exclusively single-player experience, so if you're into that kind of thing, or you just don't have a lot of friends that live nearby or that don't like playing video games for some mad reason, this is one for you. Then at number 7, a game that I have harped on about loads and loads and loads and would put at number 1 if this list was entirely down to me, West of Loathing. I actually recently reviewed this on NintendoLife.com because for some reason we didn't have a review even though it's been out ages, so click that card up there to check that out because it is a ruddy good game and I'm still going to tell you about it now, don't worry. This game is isn't quite so pretty to look at. I mean, it is appealing in its own way, the art style, but it's not pretty, is it? It's crude. I love it, but it is crude. Gameplay-wise, I mean, there is combat in there, but really it's more about just exploring and interacting and reading. There's so much reading, so much text going on, and it is some of the best writing on the Switch. Seriously, it is absolutely fantastic. It's also, I think, the funniest game on the Switch. Certainly the funniest game that I've played on the Switch. And I just can't sing its praises enough. It is fantastic. Go and download it. It's also one of the cheapest on our list at only $11. So what are you waiting for? At number 6, it's the RPG game that nobody thought could actually work. Golf Story. Yes, we've seen golf RPGs before, but not quite like this one, and much like West of Loathing, it's got amazing writing that's very similar to sort of Earthbound in many ways, and again, very humorous. Wouldn't quite say it's as funny as West of Loathing, but I am biased because I love that sort of dry humor. Even if you don't like golf games, this is a marvelous, marvelous game to sink your teeth into, and easily one of the best RPGs on Switch. At number 5, we've got a totally different kind of game. Inside. This is one of those things, I mean, it is definitely a game, but at the same time, it's not the gameplay that you play the game for. It's the experience and just having the story delivered to you. The story is just... Honestly, it's amazing. It is an amazing story. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you are going to be creeped out and you are going to be questioning things. And if you like games that really challenge you, yeah, check this one out. At number 4, it's a game that doesn't challenge any ideals at all. Sonic Mania, the very best Sonic game that we've had for the past 10 years, easily. It recently got an update with the Encore DLC for just £4. So what is that in dollars? Probably like $5. So if you were to buy with the DLC, it would be over $20, but even so, the main game is still worth it. If you love your Sonic, then frankly, you've probably already played this game, but if you haven't, it is just phenomenal. It is the best 2D Sonic game that I've seen for so long, maybe even the best 2D Sonic game ever. The only downside with it is it does focus a little bit too much on the older levels, and it uses them as a crutch rather than just going for all new levels, which is a shame, but at the same time, it's still ruddy bloody good. At number 3, it's the headache-inducing, rage-quit-inducing Celeste. I think the easiest game to compare this to would probably be Super Meat Boy, but I would say it's better than Super Meat Boy as well. It's just so utterly refined to an absolute T. It's like distilled water. It's like the purest form you can imagine this kind of game being. I do really, really want to stress though, this game really is hard. And it's not, sort of, oh, well, it's a hard game. It's the Dark Souls of this. I would probably say it's harder than Dark Souls. Seriously, it is that bloody difficult. So be warned. Then at number 2, we have got Stardew Valley, because who doesn't love Stardew Valley? It's amazing. Gram for gram, I really don't think you can get more out of a game for the price than Stardew Valley. I mean, it's $15. Is it $15? It's $15. You can play this game literally forever if you want. I mean, every single time I think, sort of, oh, maybe I'm done with Stardew, I will pick it up for, and think, oh, I'll play an hour, something like that. And then I'll suddenly discover, oh, I could start growing hops and making beer. Now I'll do that for my entire life. And so you start planting, and then you need to get more hops, and then you need to do this, and then you need to do that, and then you need more kegs, and then you need to do that. And it just sort of snowballs into this level of stuff to do that is frankly incredible. There is so much you can do in Stardew, and so much that you will never do in Stardew, because it is just so big, so open, and so absolutely amazing. And so all that's left is number 1. What is the best game on the Nintendo Switch for under $20 at the time of recording? Let's find out. It's Hollow Knight. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is the best game on the Switch for under $20, and there is no comparison except for maybe Stardew and West of Loathing. But honestly, this game nails absolutely everything. The art style, the atmosphere, the moves, the controls, the refinement, the enemies, the difficulty. Oh god, it's another difficult one. But it's so worth it. Every single thing about this game just sings quality and charm and passion. And if you buy one game this year for under $20, make sure it's Hollow Knight, because it really is that good. And there you have it. Those are the 20 best games on the Nintendo Switch for under $20. So these lovely little budget games that really can deliver arguably even more than some of the AAAs. Make sure you check them out. At least one of them. At least Hollow Knight. But what do you think? Do you think we got the order wrong? Do you think we should have included something obscure that was only released in the Japanese eShop and that I haven't heard of? Let us know down there in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you beat 7 shades out of that subscribe button using your trusty nail, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye. Subscribe.